Already, but there we go. We are recording. So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the session today. I know some of you on the call here. I've seen a few dotted around, and some of you I don't think I do know, but just to be on the safe side, my name's Andrew Miller. I'm one of the practice growth experts at AVN. And I'm not employed by AVN. I'm actually got my own coaching practice outside, and I'm one of the sort of affiliates. I've been working with them for several years now. I do have an accountancy background. It's very specialized, but I'm familiar with the world of accountancy and come through from that background. And as I say, now I'm my own coaching practice. So yeah, help out with AVN. I thought I'd go for a thematic background today to fit in with the week, and we'll go with that. So as I say, people might drift in as we go along, but we will see how that goes along. It's always going to be useful if obviously people pay attention, but I might be asking you some questions and getting you to sort of come forward with some suggestions and thoughts and ideas. Scary concept. So I might get a bit of discussion going at times, just so you're not falling asleep. And the theme today in general is about improving your referral strategy. And there may be one or two that start thinking initially like, we're going to the busy season. I don't want to be thinking about new work, more work. But actually now is the best time to be thinking about referrals. Let's just throw it in. Why would now be a good time to be thinking about referrals or thinking about referral strategy? See if anyone's got any ideas.
You've got plenty of happy customers or clients, if you prefer.
Exactly. We're doing some great work for them over the coming months. And it's an excellent opportunity to sort of tap into that and make the most of it. Plus, of course, we've got this perpetual issue that most people have in business, that we go through that cycle where we're busy, we stop marketing, and then when we get quiet again, when we need the work, that's when we start marketing. And there's always a lead time. So we go through this seesaw cycle if we're not careful. So actually, we want to be thinking about marketing stuff when we're busy. We've got to balance it off, obviously, but we want to be having those strategies in place at all times, ultimately, but we don't wait until things are quiet and we're desperate before we start, pressing on the accelerator pedal. Now, when we think, I'm just going to sort of talk very generically at the moment. When we think about business growth in general, most people, when they're kicking off thinking about it, they're all keen to get that new website, get the email campaigns going, build a list, go on social media, go networking, etc., etc. And all of those are great things to do, but they're not the easy wins. So we want to make sure we're kicking the easy wins straight off. I'm not sure where, I think most of you are fairly reasonably seasoned AVN members, but we're recording this and I want anybody to get value from this, no matter what level you're at. So, so as a reminder, the sort of the 3 stages of easiness, I would say, in terms of growing your business is you start off with your existing clients. That's the level we start with. Let's not worry about the new cold clients yet. You start with your existing ones. So what do? We do the proper pricing, make sure that we're pricing correctly and fully for the things we're currently doing. Then we start looking for those extra services. And of course, we should be thinking now about building those opportunities into the end of year meetings. This is where your windows of opportunity stuff works, where your on-track reports work, your benchmarks, your lifetime financial responsibilities. All of these things are tools that you can use to add in or start discussions around extra services for existing clients. But we don't go straight from there to our marketing website, email campaigny things. There's that bit in the middle. We want to be tapping into the warm leads and the referrals from people that we're doing good business with. So we always start with our existing clients, then we look for connections from our existing clients, and then only then do we start thinking about the people who are cold and external. And when I think about the referral getting strategy, in my head, there's sort of 6 levels of sophistication, shall we say. And that's what I want to work through with you today, from the very simple to something a little bit more sophisticated, and it takes a little more work, a little more effort, but that's what it's all about. Okay, so as we move into sort of the first one and thinking about that, I just wanted to imagine a scenario. And one of your best clients that you get on really well with, you give excellent service to them, and they're out and about, they're talking to maybe one of their clients, maybe one of their peers, whoever it might be, but this person that they are talking to is your ideal client. And they're desperately in need of your help and all the things that you can offer. Now, does your client broker an introduction between you and that person in that situation? That's a rhetorical question, because sometimes that will be a yes. Of course it happens. Of course we get referrals like that. And you would certainly hope so. But as the man says, hope won't pay the wages. And the truth is that frequently they just simply don't think about it. It doesn't cross their mind, not through any issue that you've done, not through any problem they've got. It just doesn't arise. And it's because we've got different bits of memory. Memory works in different ways. For example, to illustrate the point, the type of memory needed to answer the question, what is the capital of France, is a different bit of memory that is needed to answer the question, is Paris the capital of France? It's the same knowledge. There's no extra information needed, but the energy required to go and recover that information is different because there's a different type of memory needed. And it's the same thing when somebody's out there, just out in the wilds, out in the open, and something crops up. It just may not occur to them, may not be something that comes into their brain. So our job is to try and move away from a hope strategy, and we'll never get to a guaranteed strategy, but what can we do to increase the chances of people remembering to think of us in the right situations or steer people towards us at the right times. So level one, first thing, basic stuff, anybody can do it. What should we do to get referrals? What's the most simplest, easiest thing we can do? Ask them. Nice and simple. Don't ask, don't get. Something, no matter where you are in your journey, you can do it at the very next meeting with a good client. No special work needed. Now, I do recognize that the act of asking for a referral can feel uncomfortable. And through this webinar, we're going to be looking at some things that will make that easier. And at the end, I'll be showing you an extra little bonus stuff, which is around testimonials, which actually makes asking for referrals easier and also adds in some extra bonuses for you. So we will deal with the uncomfortable element. So we've got to remember to ask. So it's also important that we systemize the process of asking referrals. So those that have gone through Clarity, you will know that the basic requirement in the Clarity workbook when it comes to asking referrals is not just ask for it, but we stick it on the agenda of every agenda, because that will mean that it's in our head to ask about it, and we've kind of committed to it. So it's there on a bit of paper and we can't really wriggle out of asking for the referral. So, that's the very simple process. Just let Rose in. So at a very basic level, we ask, but what everybody here will know is that, thank you, Libby, already got the agenda on her standard agenda template, and she phrased it differently. So if you, who could I connect you to? So it's so yeah, well, she's picking up a very good point, which will come up later on in terms of sort of flip referrals. But yeah, so just asking for a referral will come up with a very low rate of return. I think most people find. I'm sure there's plenty of people that have said, well, I've asked a referral in every single meeting, I've not got anything back. And a lot of this is down to the fact that we've not really given them a chance to think about anybody. We put them on the spot. So if I'm just going to ask somebody a direct question, the natural reaction is for the brain to panic and shut down, and you end up with the, oh, let me have a think about it and I'll get back to you type response, and then you never hear from them again. So moving to level 2, what we want to do is create the right environment for them to be providing referrals for you. We want to be planting seeds as much as possible so they're thinking about it. So one of the things that I think Libby's probably alluded to there is when we have that agenda, we send the agenda to the client in advance. So instantly we planted a seed that referrals are going to be on the agenda. And so it's less of a surprise when when it turns up in the meeting, and their brain could be thinking on these things. It may be that when you introduce into your system, when these clients first come on board, or you can do this at an annual meeting if it hasn't happened already, that you have a conversation about them, how you don't work with everybody. You only work through people that have been recommended to you and referrals, and start telling people how you only work with a certain type of people and referrals are part of it. So you can start having those conversations early on, so that the anticipation is, I'm going to be asking you for referrals later on. So start thinking about it now. So it's not a surprise when it happens, particularly if they've come as a referral. It's a perfect way to leverage off that as a value. So again, we're just creating the environment where asking for referrals is not a surprise. And then the other thing, and this is what Libby was referring to earlier on, are you giving them referrals? If anybody has had the joys of being a member of BNI and will be familiar with the concept of giver's gain, it works on the principle of you give, and you give value to other people, and you give referrals to people, and then the stuff comes back. So as well as doing good stuff for people, are you thinking about your clients when you're out and about in your daily activities? Are you looking for leads and opportunities for them? Because that's helping them build their business. So if their business is growing, then it's going to be helping you as their accountant. But it also gets into that head of that reciprocal nature that we're familiar with, the Cialdini's value, the 7 ways of persuasion. If we're giving, then they feel a bit more compelled to get back. So all these things are doing is planting seeds to get them thinking about how they can get good referrals for you. However, it's still a challenge. You've planted all these seeds, you're asking the questions, but they don't really know who to bring to you. So even though they're thinking about it, it's like, I'm not sure. And you might end up with anybody, and you might get whoever turns up. I mean, it's great that they're bringing somebody, but even then they might not be sure about it. So we want to make it easy for them to think about who it is going to be a right referral. So level 3 and level 4 are sort of maybe sides of each other. Where we want to get to is be level 4, which is, I'll get to in a minute, which is about asking for your ideal client, but we may not have worked that out yet. So here's my tip for level 3. If you're not sure about who you're looking for, you haven't done the positioning work to really get clear on your ideal client, then before you go into the meeting with the person that you're going to have, you're going to ask for referrals from, spend 5-10 minutes and just think about the client you're going to meet. Hope, an A client, B client, good client. What is it about this client that you like? Just think of a couple of things reasons why you like working with them. They take decisions quickly. They want to grow. They take on the advice. It might be the size. It might be that. But just think about them. Why is it I like these people? And then your referral asking question is along the lines of, I really like working with you because you make a decision and you take action, and you've got a growth mindset where you're really looking to move your business forward. My guess is that you'll know other business owners of that nature, and they're the sort of people I can really help. So if you know anybody like that, ... So 2 things are happening here. 1, you're flattering them, giving them a bit of praise. That's no harm. So even if they can't think of anybody, you've strengthened the relationship because you've given them a good comments. But it just helps the brain filter down a little bit more and start thinking about a certain type of person. And as the sentence says, it's the concept of birds of a feather flock together. They are more likely to know people of similar values, similar type, and it will help make it easier for them to think of someone that might be appropriate. However, ideal would be level 4, where we've actually thought about who our ideal client is, and we can be really specific when asking that individual for a referral and describing the type of person. Or even better, do some research. Maybe there's somebody you're looking for, use LinkedIn, see who they're connected to. And you might even be able to, bring a name into the room and say, incidentally, I understand you're connected with so-and-so and so-and-so. Would there be any chance we can broker an introduction? All of these things are making it easier for your client to think of somebody to refer you to. And again, it's a trick that the B&I people will know well. And it's about being specific. And it's the importance of being specific is, again, it's the way the brain works. And to give you an example why it's important, imagine whether you do this or not on a regular basis, just imagine the scenario. You've gone into a fast food establishment like McDonald's or KFC or whatever. And imagine it's one of those actually people there and not the little computers that you press. Actually wander up to a person at the counter at McDonald's and say to them, hello there, I'm hungry. I would like some food, please. And watch their brain melt, because they're not, they might have been trained for it, but in general, they're not going to be able to compute with it. If you ask for a Big Mac and fries and a Diet Coke, they know exactly what to do and go and get it for you. But if you just ask for anything, then the result is confusion and usually ends up being nothing. So it's the same when we're asking for referrals. The more precise we can be, the better. So that's a quick run through the first few levels. So level 1, just ask. Level 2, do as much as you can to create the environment to ask by planting seeds and passing referrals to them. Level 3, filter for good attributes as a way of asking for it. So the more what you like about them, ask for reflecting that in the people they know. And level 4, be specific as you can, bringing your ideal client in or research that you've done to ask for the right people. However, and this is where we get to the meaty stuff and we start really moving up a level, there is still a massive challenge for that individual to introduce you to somebody they know. And ultimately, it comes down to the fact that we're talking about passing trust on. So, I mean, I don't know whether you've had an experience either in business or you might have had it just in a personal social circles with friends when it's like, oh, I'm friends with that person, I'm friends with that person. Those two really must get on. And for some reason, they just don't. And then they look at you and go, why on earth did you introduce us two together? Because, yeah. So if I'm referring you into somebody I know and trust, even though I get on with you, there's always in the back of my head this little niggling doubt that the two of you won't get on, something will go wrong. And now my friend will blame me. And so a referral has inherent within it an extra level requirement of trust than just the relationship we've built up, because I can take stuff, but if I'm passing that on to somebody else, then I'm taking the blame for it. And I've got to be careful for that. So what we have to do is we need to start thinking, how can I make my client introduce me to the right person, but make it look like that person has done something of value for that other individual, rather than there being a risk attached to it that might go wrong, so that they actually feel compelled and want to introduce you in some way, shape or form. In other words, you want to be able to provide for your client a gift that client can give to the people that they know. Now, a very simple solution to this is the AVN book or any other book you may have written. There are other things as well, benchmarking reports, simple stuff that works, those sort of things. But let's use the book as a model, and then we can think about how we apply that to other stuff. But so imagine this as the situation now. So you've one of your clients that you get on very well with, happy to promote you. You create a letter for him, which he will send out to the good clients that he thinks are worthy. That letter says, hi, John, just want to let you know, I've just read a really good book that's really helped me in my business. I know the author. I've managed to have a word with him, and I've managed to secure some free copies that he's happy for me to give away to some of my clients. As you're one of my special preferred sort of associates or whatever it might be, I'm offering one to you. If you would like a copy of the book, then just drop me an email, tell me it's okay for me to pass your info on, and I'll get a physical copy posted to you. something of that nature. So what's going on there? So first of all, we've done a lot of the work. We're making it easy for them by writing the letter. All they've got to do is mail merge and send it out. What he's doing, or she, is offering a gift to somebody. So the person that receives that goes, oh, at worst case scenario is, nah, not interested, sling it in the bin. But nobody's going to think worse of the person for sending that to them and offering them a gift. And at best, they're going to say, oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'd love a copy. So the person giving the gift, your client, is their profile has been raised just by doing it. They feel good in doing it because they're essentially giving a free gift to somebody, and that person going to feel special. They're going to feel honored. So you're strengthening their relationship. So there's no danger in doing this, and you're not forcing them into a relationship. It's just giving them a gift. Now, notice the other stuff that's going on in the letter. If you are interested, drop me a message saying you're okay. So first off, we're getting permission to pass on the information, to get their email address, postal address, whatever's needed to send it out. But also it's filtering for people who are A, interested in the concept of what you've just offered, and B, take action. So the only people you end up sending a book out to are people who are interested in what you're doing and are prepared to take action, which generally come under the category of people more likely to be interested in what I do. This gets us around of the issue of, hey, I've got 100 people I can send it out to, and sending out 100 physical books, and then that gets quite expensive and low rate of return. So inherent in it is a filter that gets the right sort of people responding, and it reduces the number that you have to send out. So it saves a few pennies on that side of things. And again, thinking about the process is like their endorphin spike, so to speak, when they're thinking about the person that sent it to them. First of all, they got the letter, so they feel good. They take action. They probably feel good in that basis. They then get a copy of the book through the post, so they feel good again. So all this is making your client look good in their eyes. Even if they don't like the book, first it requires they've got to read it, which usually doesn't happen. Let's be honest, not all the way through. But even if they don't like the book, they've had enough endorphin spikes to already think positively. They're not going to think badly of the person that's given them a gift. So you've got around that issue. And it's not then ridiculous for your, and again, you do the work and provide the letter, but your client to then, a couple of weeks later, drop a message to the people, send it out in the letter saying, hope you got the book through okay. Don't know if you got around to reading it, but look, as I say, I know the author. If stuff in there looks interesting, he's really helped me with ... Maybe I can broker an introduction or something along those lines. But so you can have a follow-up on that basis. So I mentioned the book, and the book, obviously, for those that you may not be at that stage yet, but I always recommend a physical book because it's tangible, it's got weight, it sits there, it's got your name on it, and it sits on the desk or on the bookshelf, and it's always present. A PDF that just gets downloaded is probably going to be lost. We have those things on a website for sure. That's purely for email capture. We've all got PDFs that sit in our files. We've never read them, but a physical book has stature. So it's a physical book process. But there may be other things that you can think of, other things that you can do that might, as long as the person referring you looks good in the process, then you are increasing the chances that they will take action, increasing the chances that they'll get some sort of response from the people that you're going to. Now we'll have a little pick ideas from you and see what you think about. But before we do that, I'm just going to, there's another issue which we just need to take into account, which we can build in at this stage, but it's level, it's bringing it up to level 6, because we have another challenge that we've got to get over. And anybody that's ever asked for referrals or had a conversation with somebody about getting you in somewhere will know and recognize this. So if I'm contacting the person I sent a book to and say, would you like introduction to I don't know, to Philip, he's a good accountant, or even just out on the golf course and recommending somebody, whatever it might be, we have that classic response from that ideal client that says, it's all right, I've got an accountant, I don't need to speak to anybody. And bam, the conversation stops and the chance of referral never goes any further. So in level sinks, we also need to think about, even if they are happy with their accountant, what action do we want them to take? And this is not necessarily an easy answer, but this is the sort of wrestling we've got to think of. But in short, the stuff that you've got available to your services, you want to be offering stuff that their accountant doesn't offer. And this is where we tap into things like benchmark and simple stuff that works, and all those sort of things. So thinking about what a traditional account, so in other words, don't offer them a free session. Don't offer them an accounts review. Don't offer necessarily a tax review unless you know for a fact that they're not getting tax advice from their accountant. Because anything that's going to fall into the trap of my accountant does that, or I've already got an accountant, is going to become a problem. So what would work, or more likely to work, because there's no guarantees in any of these things. Let's say the book's gone out. The book is based around simple stuff that works. So I know that's only for people in the advanced levels, but I know a lot of you are in that sort of space or getting there. So let's say, the book's gone out. The follow-up saying, hey, I don't know if you read the book, but obviously it's all about improving your bottom line, increasing your sales, increasing your referrals, da, 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 da. The guy that wrote it is running some sessions on individual modules. And again, I've managed to secure a couple of free sessions if interested, whatever it is. So it's introducing them into a coaching session, which improves their sales, not an accounting conversation. So even if you've got an accountant and you're happy with accountant, the stuff that you will take away from this session will be stuff that you can implement in your business and increase your profits and so on and so forth. And all of this is designed to just get into a room with somebody and start a conversation. You never know where it's going to go from there. But if you never get into a room with a conversation with somebody, nothing will happen. But if you get in that mindset of not competing with their accountant, then you're on to a winner, because that's the hardest thing that we do. Is when we go head to head with other accountants, we're in trouble, and we're always going to lose, because everybody, no matter how bad their accountant is, it just fits into that kind of, I'm locked in, I don't even want to move, I'm not interested. So we want to be offering a gift that ultimately leads to something that is worth them doing, even if they are happy with their accountant, which needs some thinking about. So I've given some ideas. So just get some thoughts and ideas from people. That just, some people might be doing stuff like this. Some people might have thought of stuff while we're thinking. People might have some questions. What might work, might not work. What comes to mind when something that could be a good gift that would lead to an offer that that even if they're happy with their accountant would still be worth them taking it up. What thoughts do people have? You get to use your brain cells now. It was easy when it was just simple ask them, wasn't it? Got to do some work. As an idea, one of my other members, he's creating gift vouchers. So the gift voucher is for one of the services. We're still working fine tuning exactly what it is, but it puts a price on it. And the client looks good because he's offering a gift voucher, and what he gets out of it is going to be something of value. And he's not going to charge the client for it, but it's perceived as though I've bought it for you. So he's he's not giving it away for free. So it's just a slight twist on the free session, but wording the what that session is and putting the value on it creates value, a price on it creates value around it. So that's another way of doing things. Pilot programs are always useful. If you're new, well, one, for your own confidence, if you're trying to get comfortable with benchmark or any of the tools or simple stuff that works, whatever it might be, then often recommend doing a pilot session. Got access to a new software, maybe use Futurely or something like that. Got access to new software, keen to get to grips with it, looking for some guinea pigs, want to test it out. Ordinarily it will go for this sort of thing, but he's asked me, do I know 2 or 3 people that would be interested in? And so there's a reason why this offer's coming up. It's not such a blatant come in and into my lair. So so I say it needs to think about, does it make sense of what, you might not have the answer, but does what I say make sense about thinking about creating value for that other person, looking safe in the eyes of the person giving the representative, and avoiding the accountant trap? Does that give me thumbs up or yeses in the chat or something, so at least it makes sense? So you've got a challenge to think about now, and that's your task to go away and start having discussions with your PGs or whatever at the appropriate juncture, whatever you want to do. So, so again, as I said at the start, 6 different levels of sophistication, and I'm not expecting everybody to start them tomorrow. Level 1, ask for referrals. You can start that tomorrow. Level 2, create the right environment for them. Start planting their seeds in. Level 3, when you're asking for specifics, filter for the good attributes that you know exist. So you're creating a portfolio of people you like working with. Level 4, be specific under your control. So ideal clients or research. Level 5, make it look like they're giving a gift to the person they're introducing you to. And level 6, make sure that the sit down is something that is not something that their accountant will offer. And those are the sort of things you need to be thinking about in general for your referral strategy. However, I just said at the beginning, I had an extra little stuff about how to open up the referral conversation. And certainly if you feel uncomfortable about sitting in a meeting and just saying, you know, who do you know? Then this is a good way to do that. And it also brings extra value to you. So it's almost like a separate piece, but it just overlaps nicely. I just think it fits in here. And it's about getting great testimonials. Now, we all know the value of getting testimonials. It helps with the go on our website, go on LinkedIn. It boosts our credibility, it boosts our profile. It's going to help with it. But again, with testimonials, we usually come up with the same problems. We ask our client for a testimonial. They say, yes, absolutely, leave it with me. You never actually get anything back from them. And then about 2 weeks later, you give them a nudge and they say, oh, yeah, it's just not sure about what I'm going to write, but I'll get something back to you. And then it starts getting awkward. And then you never chase them up, and then you never get anything. And part of the problem is they don't know what to say. People feel uncomfortable with testimonials. So again, what can we do to make it easy for them? So just be clear, this is about getting testimonials about the work you've done for them. This is different to you doing a testimonial for other people. When you're doing testimonial for other people, I'm just a little side in here, and again, nick this from BNI. There is a strategy that you can use that if you're giving a testimonial on some work that's been done for you, how to make that work for you. So I'll just step into that space first. So if someone's asked you for a testimonial, you take control of it. And the basic strategy is you write a testimonial that says how bloody great you are, the problem that you had, and therefore how great they are that they solved the problem for you, in a nutshell. So as an accountant of 20 years who prides himself on diligence and good value customer service and value and how great I am, when it came to my IT services, I'm an absolute numpty. I don't have a clue. And my entire system went down, and my IT provider came along, and they're professional, they've got great quality, they've got all the values that and they sorted it out overnight, whatever it might be. So that sort of structure says how great they are, but at the same time, it says how great you are. So if they're sticking that on their website, you've essentially got free advertising and free marketing, or whatever you want to do. So people are seeing good stuff about them and seeing good stuff about you at the same time. So that's just a little aside. If you're asking, if you're doing testimony for somebody else, make that work for you. That's got nothing to do with referrals. It's just an extra little thing. Okay, so when we trying to get testimonials for people we've done the service for, we need to take control of the process, and we need to make it as little work for them as possible. So there is a resource on System Builder. I will try and find it in a minute. And the process runs like this: is we contact them either on the phone, or we can grab them in a meeting. We say, we grab 10 minutes of their time and say, is it okay if I ask you a few questions which I can pull together into a testimonial? It should be easy to find 10 minutes. If it worst comes to worst, doing it in a meeting. We've got 6 questions that you ask, which are pre-prepared. You note down the answers. So all they're doing is talking. That's all they've done. All they've done is answer the phone and talk. You then take the answers and convert that into the testimonial that you want, and then it's done. You might send it them to let them know what you've got, but you've taken them out of the process effectively, so you've controlled the whole thing. And the questions are worded so that it's more powerful, and I'll explain how they'll work in a minute. So let me just see if I can share my screen and find the correct thing. Right, well, my system builder is not allowing me to come on the screen, but let me just share the actual resource itself somehow. What's gone wrong? No, that didn't work. That's the one. Share. Right. You should have on the screen, I don't know what you're seeing, but an action resource called testimonial capture. Can people see that? Thumbs up if that's screen sharing. Okay, excellent. So that on, if you go in system builder and type in AR action resource testimonial capture, it runs through the process that I've just told you about. It runs through the 6 questions and what you can do. So let me talk you through it, and let me talk you through the questions and explain why this is better than just general stuff. So so you rung them up. Let me ask you the questions. Record it on Zoom. Record it with a voice recorder, or just be very fast at writing, whichever works for you. I'll run through the 6 questions and I'll explain the importance of them. So question 1. Phrase it whoever suits. What was the #1 reason that might have stopped you working with us? That's the only question. Question 2, and what did you find as a result? So what was the reality of the situation? Question 3, what specifically did you like about our service? Question 4, what 3 other benefits did you get? This is where and question 5 is where the referral bit sort of connects in. Would you recommend us to someone else? And if so, why? And then question 6, is there anything else you'd like to add? If you're doing this on video, on Zoom, and if you can get them to answer the question in their answer, so you ask them, what's the #1 reason that might have stopped you working with us? Get them to answer it. Well, the main reason or main concern I had around working with you was, and build that into their answer. That means that when you can lift out those bits in an editing process and actually create a compact testimonial by itself without your questions in there. But don't worry about it too much. You can still just get around it anyway and just put captions in and card with a question. But anyway, why are we doing it this way? So if you remember from masterclass, I've attended masterclass when Shane talks about the trium brain, if you're familiar with that. So we have the 3 levels of the brain, and right in the center we have the fear-based amygdala, and then we move to the mammal brain. So I think that's the reptilian brain, he calls it. Then we have the mammalian brain and the human brain. So we go through and a lot of our messages are all about talking about hitting that the reptilian brain, create the fear, create the panic, create the emotion, whatever it is. So we're all emotional creatures. When we are looking at referrals and conversations and comments, that sort of thing, our eyes just glance over, and if everything is lovely and fluffy and perfect and amazing, we don't really notice. So most testimonials on the website say, oh yeah, I've worked with Don for 10 years. It's been absolutely fantastic service. It's brilliant. I've loved them. I recommend them to everybody, kind of stuff. That's the sort of your standard fluffy testimonial, which is good, but the brain won't leap into it because we're cynical. We're looking for the problem. We're looking for the risk. We're looking for the challenge. If your testimonial starts off with, my biggest concern in working with Julian was he was incredibly expensive, for example, the brain is going to go, oh, hello. That's the problem I've got. I'm at attention now. I'm interested in what's going on. I'm going to be more observant of the rest of the stuff. So it's going to grab their attention. And the point of having the question 2, what did you find as a result, is it deals with that problem there and then. I was worried about working with Julian because I thought he was incredibly expensive. But my God, once I've actually got working with him for 6 months, I've saved money in the process. So it deals with a frequently asked question and an obstacle and a problem that your potential clients will have in the testimonial. And over time, as you do more and more of these, you'll build up a catalog of all the top problems that your clients have, because your existing clients will have had them as well. And you can group them together. There'll be 4 or 5 that are common, and make sure that you have a smattering of all of those sort of things. And indeed, if your client is trying to get you introduced to somebody, they know that they're hesitant about a particular issue, find a testimonial that attaches to that problem, send that through to them, and it'll ease their minds. It will raise their attention level in that moment of fear, but then ease that fear with a follow-up question. So what was the biggest problem that you have, but it was okay because? The next couple of questions work really well in terms of your marketing, your language, your positioning, your USPs, that sort of thing. So what specifically do you like about your service? Again, we love specifics. The brain loves specifics. So it's really thinking about what is really good in terms of detail. And then they're talking about what other benefits that they got. So in their responses to these questions, you are going to get stuff that tells you why you are good from your clients. And if they're saying these things, then that's going to resonate with the clients you want to work with. So as I say, it's really tapping into the language that you want to be using on your website and other marketing messages. Question 5 is the important one. Would you recommend it to somebody else? And if so, why? So again, that if so, why, twofold. One, it's not just a case, yes, I'd recommend you. It actually gets them to think again about why it is that you are so good. Again, that USP marketing stuff, language is flooding through all of here, but also in their brain starts making them think about somebody in that situation. So they do the work for you subconsciously to start thinking about people that fit into that gap. So once you finish this process, if they said, yes, I would recommend you to somebody else, I'll recommend you because my God, you're the best accountant I've ever worked with. And my business wouldn't be here unless ... Once you finish it, by the way, when you said, did anybody come to mind when you thought that? Or whatever line you've got prepared, depending on what level you're at, but it's suddenly you've got a much easier segue into asking for the actual referral because they've just said, I would refer you. So again, you've created a condition to make it easier. So that's what you do after the process. But just to finish off the testimonial itself, anything else that you would like to add? And this just goes into the free form part of the brain where it will just sort of find something that you hadn't even thought of in advance. And what normally happens, not always, but what often happens here, I should say, is there anything else you'd like to add? And they will go think for a bit and they go, no, not really. I would just say, and then clunk, they land in an absolute perler of a sentence that ends up being the headline on your website or the strap line on your LinkedIn or whatever it might be. Doesn't always, but sometimes, very often those sort of things come out of that. So let me see if we've got somebody that would like, I want to demonstrate this in real time. Stop the sharing. Is there anybody who would like to model the process and would like to give a testimonial on my terms, not on the alternative one I taught you earlier on? So and answer these questions and be happy to give a testimonial. And we'll just use it as a model. Any volunteers? If Anne has leapt to the floor again, I've noticed.
Well, if nobody else is going to do it, Andrew, I'll join you.
I have noticed if anybody, if in doubt, if Anne's going to say yes, so
I'll stop then. No, I refuse. There you
go. What I'll do is I will just spotlight you. So I know you know the questions, but just relax and just let what comes up come up and just answer naturally, and don't think about it too much. Is
right.
Let me just get them up. So Ethan, first of all, just tell us who you are and what you do. Just a quick intro.
I'm Ivan, and I have an accountancy business which is moving more towards doing profit measurement and improvement. And there's a variety of clients ranging from design agencies to, we've just got some psychologists. And we get quite a few trainers as well.
Excellent. So when you became a member of AVN, what was your biggest concern about getting involved?
Would I get value for money?
And what did you find was the reality?
That there was value, but you have to work at it. It's not just going to fall into your lap.
Excellent. And what specifically did you like about working with AVN?
So again?
What specifically did you like about working with AVN?
The people, they're really friendly, and you can have a proper chat with them. You don't feel like to hold back. The stuff's going to be blabbed where you shouldn't be.
Excellent. And can you think of 3 other benefits that you got?
Systems, because I'd read Michael Grieber's book beforehand, before I came across AVN. I was thinking, well, that sounds like the answer. Some really good software tools and just contacts. Other accountants who are also struggling.
Brilliant. Would you recommend AVN to other accountants? And if so, why?
Yes, because if you need a boost and your life's not going the way you'd like it, and you just like to do less work really for more money, give a talk, go and talk to them.
Brilliant.
The big thing is time's up, systemizing pricing. That's a good one.
Excellent. And anything else you'd like to add?
Not really. If you get a chance to go to, if you get a chance to go to a masterclass in person, do go. It's much better than anything on video.
Perfect. So I've run through that quite quickly, and so I can take what you've just said there. When I build that together, hopefully, again, raise your hands, put thumbs up, whatever, but you see how that becomes a lot more powerful of us as a testimonial than just tell us something good. You've said what your concern was, you've dealt with that concern, you come up with some specific stuff, and you've used language which we're going to find relevant. And at the end, see what you did in terms of anything else. You went, no, not really. Oh,
I know. As I was doing it, Andy, I was thinking, damn you, sir, damn you.
Right. How dare you be right? And essentially, you just automatically build in what might be our call to action in a promotional stuff. So yeah. It's a much more structured and powerful testimonial, and you don't have to do anything now. I can go, I'm not saying I will, but I could go away and edit this video and create a little video, or I can transcribe it, whatever, and it's your words. So I've not cheated anything. I've got a test. Actually, would you be happy for us to do that? But
send the money to the usual address, and the answer will be yes.
and so we've just created a much more powerful testimonial, and you've done very little work. If you want to, you can get it created. You can send it to them for their final approval. Sometimes they come up with extra ideas and thoughts afterwards. Certainly in a written form, they might come. Oh, by the way, there was something else. Like you came up with the systemization of pricing at the end. You might have thought of that tomorrow and wanted to add that in because it was important. So we give them that scope. But bottom line is, we've done all the work, you've done nothing, and we've got a cracking testimonial at the end. And if we build up a load of those different ones, some are going to be about price, some are going to be about time commitment, some are going to be about and the fact that you put in there, you don't just get it, you got to work for it. That's brilliant, because it's part of our filter. We don't want people that just turn up and expect stuff to be done. We want people to take action, and take action. So even within that, all that stuff is the language of the filtering that works for us, and it will work for you with your clients as well. So again, the whole point of that testimonial, one, it's useful anyway. So it's there we are. But also it's that natural step to referral if you're uncomfortable on how to have that referral conversation. So you never need to worry about putting on the agenda or whatever it might be. It's just a case of, hey, setting up a call to have 10 minutes. We've had, we worked with you for a while, think you've got some good service, would be okay for running a testimonial. And that will lead naturally into a referral question at the same time, if you just remember to add that at the end. So that is essentially it for today. Have we got any questions or reflections or thoughts or anything that people want to throw into the mix? Either stick it on the chat or take your mute up and throw it into the mix. I'm fine either way. Just as a note, was one thing that Libby put in earlier. She had to go, but as part of their client onboarding, Libby makes sure she connects to them on LinkedIn, and always and throws open to them their her connections and says, look at who I'm connected to. If there's anybody you want me to introduce you to, then just let me know and I'll broker that introduction. So again, part of that, giving referrals in order to hopefully open the door to receive it and creating the right environment. Okay. All right. If we've not got any questions, I will bring things to a close. Has that been useful? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Excellent. We got value out of it. Do you know what of the things we went through, what your first action is going to be relevant to that and when you're going to do it? Excellent. Good stuff. So you have value, you've got an action, you know when to take it. On that note, I will leave you be, and I wish you all the best for the rest of the day and the rest of the week. Thank you very much.